Hundreds of protesters besieged the National Assembly on Monday to oppose the Senate's amendment of the Electoral Act. The protest, tagged Occupy the National Assembly, was organized by the Obedient Movement and other pro-democracy groups in the country over the removal of the phrase real time from provisions of the electronic transmission of election results. The report.
The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, also joined the protesters, throwing more weight behind the protest. Carrying placards with the inscriptions, "Our votes must count," and "No to electoral robbery," the demonstrators marched from the Federal Secretariat to the National Assembly. They were, however, stopped by heavily armed security operatives comprising the police, the army, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and were forced to hold the protest outside the complex. Addressing journalists at the protest ground, Obi warned that credible elections remain critical to Nigeria's stability and development.
The election must be transmitted electronically from the polling booth direct. We don't want any point any longer. Let people watch it. That's what is happening in South Africa. That's happening in Ghana. That's happening everywhere. That's what we have suffered before. We don't want any glitch again. Glitch is finished. We want things to come happen. No more glitch.
Other protesters accused lawmakers of undermining democratic reforms and vowed to sustain the demonstrations until the National Assembly reverses the amendment.
We voted people into the National Assembly. We have a representative democracy. That then means that not all of us can make decisions. Not all of us are in power. We have certain people, and that's why once every 4 years, there is election for people to elect the people that will represent them. What we have at the National Assembly, instead of representatives of the people, unfortunately, they have turned themselves to the mouthpiece of the executive, and that must not be allowed to happen. Electronic transmission of results is sacrosanct. It is not something that it is not whether Senate likes it. The Senate must do it.
Of course, as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, like I keep saying, this is the only country that we have. For us, we want anything that will make Nigeria a great and comfortable country for all our citizens, and that's why we're here just for one purpose. For the electoral reform. We don't think it's too much to ask the National Assembly to do. Just do that which is right and that which is needful. Pass the electoral reform. I mean, it is simple to say electronic transmission of results, real time. That's all that we ask for. And if this government is fair to herself, I think it's one thing that they should pass without any hitch. And so we challenge the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, to do the needful. I mean, this is what Nigerians want.
Transfer and transmission are two different words. They have no relationship. Transfer, most likely they may tell you that transfer, according to their meaning, they may tell you that when you transfer it from where you write it manually, you cannot go back to the collation center to transfer it to the IREF. But what we want is direct transmission in real time.
Recall that the Senate last week passed the Electoral Act 2022 Amendment Bill 2026 through third reading, with critics saying that deleting real-time weakens safeguards against manipulation ahead of the 2027 general elections. Though the Senate has insisted and still insists, it did not reject electronic transmission outrightly, but however, the protesters are still arguing that the amendment is leaving room for post-election interference.